What is a commons?
A place that is not privately owned.
Perfect. A place that is not privately owned. So if it's not privately owned, who owns it?
The public.
The public, yeah. So we share it. What's the tragedy?
People abuse it.
People abuse it. It gets ruined. It gets destroyed. The five of you who just very kindly volunteered for me, you are the head of a family. You're responsible for bringing the food home. And the only real source of food are the fish in the local pond. I wanted to introduce a term called carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is the maximum amount of fish that are able to live in that pond. And that would be due to what we call limiting factors. Dissolved oxygen is important to fish. Just like we need oxygen, they do as well. It's usually a limiting factor. The food that the fish need, they eat as well. So that could be a limiting factor. There's lots of things that help keep the fish alive that could also bring about their death. You are going to take as many fish as you think you need, but the rule is if you only take one fish, you and your family die. You're going to get hungry again, and the next season you're going to come back to the fishing hole. In between times, after everybody has fished, the fish that are left over have a chance at reproduction. So there could be fish that help restock the pond for each season. Look at her cute little sweater. She's got her fishing pole. How many fish would you like to gather for your family for season 1?
I'll take 2.
How many fish would you like?
I'll take 3 fish.
Cool, look at that haircut. Boom, they're gone. Nice work.
I guess I'll also just take 3 fish.
3 fish. How many fish would you like?
2.
2 fish.
2.
2 fish. All right, nice work, everybody. I have great news. All 5 of your families got enough food, are healthy, and survived. And they're happy. You did a good job as a provider. The fish are going to reproduce, and it turns out that the reproduction rate is actually 1-to-1. We're going to ignore biology and all that stuff. So there were 4 fish left, and the next season, there are 8 fish in the pond. How many fish would you like?
Yeah, I'll take 2 this time.
2 this time? Cutting back a little? How many fish would you like, sir?
2.
2 fish. There you go.
I'll take all 4.
We just killed Josiah's family and Haley's family. They did not make it through season 2. Season 3. How many fish would you like?
I don't think the pond has the facilities for any fish.
You're correct. There aren't any fish. They're all gone. So what happens to your family?
Dead.
They're dead too. All right. That's tragedy of the commons. There actually is no mathematical way that you could have sustained this forever. But had everybody taken just 2 fish each time, you all would have lived a lot longer. You would have made it maybe 4, 5, 6 seasons. But because some people took 3 fish, 4 fish, that killed you much faster. You abused the public pond. Your short-term gain was your family ate well. Your long-term loss was that everybody died. There is a solution to this, though. There's a solution to the public lands being what we call sustainable. And the answer is, the clue is given in the rules. If your family only takes 1 fish, you will die.
You take 1.5 fish.
Yes, you take 1.5 fish, and the other half you share with another family. So you really take 2 and then share 1. Had you been able to communicate or formulate a plan or come to an agreement, that's how you solve tragedy of the commons. You talk about it and you cooperate with others. And that didn't happen. All I see is some brief trash talking in the chat. So there was no cooperation in this activity. All right, that's one take of Tragedy of the Commons, but check this out. Ooh, look at this fancy model I built. You see that high quality fence around that little pond? So we got carrying capacity back in the original pond. And now you own a private pond. And the carrying capacity of your tiny little private pond is 2 fish. So what's the answer? How do we sustainably manage this environment so that all families stay alive forever?
Does each family have like their own private pond?
Each family has their own private pond.
So wouldn't you just take one from the public pond and one from the private?
One from the public, one from the private. Does your family have more than one fish? Yep. When reproduction happens, your private pond goes back to carrying capacity, and there will always be, even with 5 families, there will always be enough fish in the public to sustain as well.
The lack of cleaning supplies.
Yes, they brought up toilet paper. Remember the freak out back last spring when all the stores, everybody rushed to buy all the toilet paper. They took more than they needed. Here's a couple more. Remember, we do have a quiz tomorrow. Another good example related to environmental science is a coal power plant. We burn coal because it's cheap and it's profitable for the energy companies. That's the short-term gain. Everybody saves money or makes money. The long-term damage is that we pollute our atmosphere and people get sick and they die, and it's terrible. So how do we solve tragedy of the commons? I've already told you, we solve it by communication, being able to reach agreements between public and private, or those who we share public resources with.